Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video I stumbled upon a really interesting but honestly quite sad video on TikTok, and I felt like I needed to share this with you guys. It features an African man showing a clip of a black Chinese person. And no, when I say Chinese person, it's not because he's mixed or anything like that. This is a Chinese man who's simply dark skinned by nature, to be honest. And I wasn't even sure if it was okay for me to be bringing this here, because according to the brother, this is not it didn't go well with the Asian, I don't know, government or whatever, something like that. Anyway, I don't want to put it here, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized that this is something worth talking about with you guys. So that's why I went a step further and gathered a few clips to back this one up. Make sure you watch the video up to the end, especially the last clip, because this is where I think more details are explained on this. Why is this being hidden so badly? Why does this feel like something they don't want the world to see? Please take a look at this clip and the clips that I've gathered for you guys, though there's not much details in the clips between, but I want you guys to watch the last clip of this brother. I'll come back at the end of this video to give my own 2 cents. Drop your thoughts in the comment section down below. Let's watch this.
有这么多了，
今儿菜简单呐，味儿可以吧？
挺好，
可以挺好吧？哎呀，这我大爷啊，大爷特别好钓鱼。
今儿真大风钓鱼了吗？
就因为钓鱼玩这么渴的，
渴了。
So they are black Chinese people? Wait a minute. So you're telling me that was a black man, but a Chinese? Like, I don't understand. Is it like a black man from Africa that moved to China and stayed there for the rest of his life, and now he's like simulated to the Chinese economy and country, and he's like a Chinese person? Or is it like a black man from America that moved to China? Or is that it's just like a black Chinese? Because never in my life did I ever imagine or even think I would see a black Chinese person. Because he isn't just black, he physically look like Chinese, like the facial features, the hair, apart from his skin color. Like, what? Black Chinese? Oh my God, I'm done. Black Chinese? I know everything made in China is probably kind of fake, but I think this is a Chinese experiment. Ever since I made the video about the black Chinese guy and the black Chinese people, I have been receiving some message from Chinese people. I'm receiving some DMs from Chinese people telling me to be Chinese government officials or Chinese spies, telling me to take the video down. For some reason, I don't know why. So Chinese people know about black Chinese people, but they hid it from the world. Right now, they are telling me to take the video down, or they will locate me, and I don't know what they will do to me. But for study and research purposes, I will not take the video down. This is to tell you guys how black people, or melanin, or the black culture, or African American culture, has been hidden by China. Black Chinese has existed for many years in China, but the world did not know. The Chinese government pushed them deep into the mountains of China, secretly, unaliving them, reducing their numbers. Currently, most of the world did not even know that black Chinese exist till I made the post and till I made the video. And currently, they are telling me to take everything down. But guys, I'm sorry to tell you, I will not take the video down. I am here to educate everyone about the presence of black Chinese. Thank you.
For you to say the first Chinese may have been black, you just erased your own people and history and gave the Wabos the history. You have no honor. So first of all, I just had to Google Wabo, and it means wannabe Aboriginals. Make of that what you will. So this guy's upset because I talked about the research findings of Professor Jin Li of Shanghai's Fudan University, indicating that there is ancient black ancestry among the Chinese people. This professor talks about ancient migration patterns between Africa and Asia dating back some 60,000 years. And you can even see the likeness today when you compare the features of Chinese people and the Khoisan people of South Africa. I think it's sad that you feel I have no honor and that I've erased the history of my people in talking about this. The way I see it we're mostly all taught one version of history, but that learning should never stop and we should always be open to new information. And when we explore new information, I don't think it erases anything, it just adds to the richness of our history. And surely, if we learn that we might be more closely connected than we realized, that must be a good thing, not a bad thing, right?
I don't know if that's true. You know, personally, I grew up with a lot of African Americans, and I was very privileged to work with actually a lot of Nigerians who are in engineering and management consultants. Damn, they're super smart. Anyways, what I was saying, no, I don't think that's true at all. I think it's, I think people think that's a propaganda or something, but like, you know, if you read any articles or any like history, it's pretty well proven, you know. We're all from, you know, the Homo sapiens from a region of what is modern Africa today, or Middle East, or that region. And I don't think anyone's hiding that. I do think people tend to think your skin tone matters a lot, but really, if you know anything about biology, your skin tone is just really your UV exposure. So our body, our human race, the single and the only race, we are designed to adapt to that. So yeah, I don't think that's true at all, but it's a weird comment. I think it's kind of funny, but now you know.
Most non-Chinese people think of the typical Han Chinese look as representative of the entire race, but we're actually very diverse. There are actually 5 major ethnic groups in China, but these are comprised of 56 smaller groups. And recently, there's a lot of emerging science showing that the original Chinese people may have been black. You can see signs of this if you look at our most ancient artworks, as well as old photographs. And it makes sense when you realize that our continents were once joined and people used to wander freely between them.
I want you all to listen to this very carefully. So I just come across this while doing my research concerning the Black Chinese.
China restricts access to these monuments, so the natural question is, what are they hiding? By the end of this video, you'll never look at history the same way again.
Okay.
China's ancient past is shrouded in mystery, and nowhere is this secrecy more evident than in its over 100 little-known pyramids. Scattered across the Shanxi province, particularly around Xi'an, these massive earth mounds resemble pyramidal structures found elsewhere in the world, yet their contents remain curiously inaccessible. Western scholars ignored these pyramids for decades, and the Chinese government keeps them covered in trees to avoid attention. Why? What's inside? Officially, Chinese authorities claim these pyramids must remain undisturbed to prevent damage, citing environmental concerns or traditional respect for tombs. However, a deeper examination suggests a far more compelling reason: the potential revelation of a suppressed African presence in ancient China. If unearthed, these hidden relics could expose an inconvenient truth, one that fundamentally reshapes our understanding of China's formative civilizations and their connections to Black Africans. The African presence in China's prehistory is not without precedent. Scholars such as Godfrey Higgins and Gerald Massey, whose extensive research into ancient civilizations has highlighted the widespread influence of African peoples, provide compelling arguments that point toward a significant Black presence in early Asia. Higgins, in his monumental work Anacalypsis, observed that the earliest deities and rulers of many civilizations were depicted with unmistakably African features, a reality often masked by later historical revisions. Massey, in the Book of Beginnings, similarly pointed out that the most ancient representations of deities and rulers in Asia bore unmistakable Nubian and Ethiopian traits, indicating that Black Africans played a foundational role in shaping early cultures beyond Africa. One of the most intriguing aspects of the Chinese pyramids is their structural and symbolic resemblance to those found in Africa, particularly in Kemet or Egypt and Nubia. The pyramidal mounds of Xi'an are believed to date back at least 4,000 years, aligning them with the great pyramidal traditions of Africa. well-documented monuments, these Chinese structures remain deliberately hidden, covered in soil and vegetation. Local accounts suggest that inside them lie the remains of early rulers, and tantalizing legends speak of their connections to celestial beings, an echo of the African traditions that describe black kings as divine figures linked to the stars. If these rulers bore African features, as some early Chinese records suggest, it would upend conventional narratives about China's indigenous development. Ancient Chinese texts hint at an enigmatic group of dark-skinned people who occupied key roles in early Chinese society. McRitchie, in Ancient and Modern Britons, referenced early travelers who recorded encounters with black Chinese, a group whose origins have been systematically erased from mainstream history. Other sources, such as the writings of early Buddhist scholars, describe the first emperors as having dark skin and woolly hair, an unmistakable reference to African ancestry. These descriptions align with the depictions of early Chinese deities and guardian figures, whose features bear a striking resemblance to those of black African cultures. Further evidence comes from China's linguistic and artistic traditions. The early Chinese script contains symbols that resemble African hieroglyphs, suggesting a shared or influenced writing system. Broad noses, full lips, and tightly coiled hair, features that bear a striking resemblance to the imagery of black African deities found throughout Asia. This is reminiscent of how early Indian and Southeast Asian art also depicted Buddha and other spiritual figures with African features before later iconographic changes whitewashed their appearances. China's own myths speak of divine kings and sages who arrived from distant lands to bring civilization. The Xia dynasty.
Okay guys, so you have heard from the documentary. It's very original. It's too long, I can't play it all here, but if you guys want it, I'll sure to drop it. But if you listen closely, you will know that there was once in the history, black people ruled China.
Okay, so let's talk about this. So you've seen the clips, you've seen the proof, allegedly, or at least the pieces of it that somehow managed to surface despite what seems like a serious effort to keep this side of history hidden. Now let's talk about why this is such a big deal and why some people don't want the world to know about this. What many people don't realize is that there are older historical accounts going as far as back as ancient times, suggesting that the earliest Chinese people, or at least some of the earliest dynasties, were black or dark-skinned people. So before the racial features we associate with modern East Asians became dominant, there were reports of dark-skinned tribes living in the region we now call China. Some sources point to the Xia dynasty. Please pardon my pronouncing. Okay, it's Xia dynasty, and even earlier Neolithic cultures that may have had African features. Of course, you won't find this in your regular textbooks. This kind of information gets brushed under the rug so quickly, you would think it never existed. Yeah, so it's not something they want publicized, because if this part of history becomes common knowledge, it completely shifts the narrative about where people came from, who were they first, and how civilization really began. This isn't just some random TikTok theory. There have been real researchers, Chinese and international, who have brought this up only to be silenced, dismissed, or ignored. It raises the question, why would anyone care so much about hiding this information? What's so dangerous about the world knowing that black people were present in ancient China? Allegedly, okay, because it would force the rewriting of history books. It would challenge that what we've been taught about origins of Asia civilization, and more importantly, it would make the world rethink the deep interconnectedness of ancient people long before the modern borders and races we think of today even existed. I mean, think about it for a second. If the earliest people in China, or at least a significant group of them, were black, it would tie directly into the theory that all humans originated in Africa before spreading across the globe. That's the truth. It would also mean that the black presence in ancient civilization wasn't just limited to Egypt, Nubia, or the Moors, but possibly extended all the way into East Asia. That changes everything. But allegedly, this information they prefer to, keep quiet. And maybe that's why we almost never see dark-skinned Chinese people on the mainstream media or even in their own entertainment industries. When was the last time you saw a black Chinese man in a Chinese movie, film, whatever you want to call it, or featured in Asian pop culture at all? It's almost as if they don't even exist, but I think they do. Allegedly, quietly, low-key, invisibly. And this TikTok clip and the ones like it prove that fact. I know this may sound crazy to some. It probably sounds unbelievable if all you've ever seen or heard is the mainstream media version of a wild history. But the truth is often stranger than fiction. And when pieces of suppressed history like this start leaking out through regular people's phones, like TikTok clips and viral videos, the world starts to slowly wake up. People start asking questions like, why is this being hidden? What else don't we know? And that's the real danger, allegedly, for those who want this kind of truth buried forever. Because once you start pulling on that string, once you start realizing that black people may have been far more global and far more historical significant than anyone ever told you, then the whole fabric of what we believe about history starts to unravel. But hey, that's just some food for thought. And of course, I want to hear yours. What do you think about this? Do you believe these claims about Chinese origins? Do you think this is a real history that's being hidden? Or is it just another conspiracy theory floating around the internet? Please let me know what you think about this in the comment section down below. And of course, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you want more eye-opening content like this, because there is much more history out there that allegedly we're never meant to see. And this is just the beginning. I'll definitely see you in my next video. Please stay peaceful.